Hey there, welcome to Finding Fabulous, where this next chapter is about discovering what truly lights you up. I'm Meghan.
I'm Kristin. Through the stories we share and the incredible women we meet, we talk about life pivots, next chapters, and that moment when you feel your spark again.
Let's find our mojo and light it up. Hello. So we are very excited to be here with Dena Fenza. She grew up in Brooklyn, New York as the oldest grandchild in a very large Italian-American family that originated in Naples and Calabria. Growing up, she spent a lot of time with her grandparents. A majority of it was spent in the kitchen. I love that.
Me too.
Where they would put her to work and where she learned how to make all her family recipes. Never was anything ever written down. Her grandpa would say, food is for love. It has to come from the heart. I absolutely love that. I'm the opposite. I'm trying so hard to follow the recipe so that it's not terrible.
We get distracted by the instructions.
Yes, I'm like, I get stressed. Okay, so Dena attended Fordham University, where she was walking distance from Little Italy in the Bronx. As a young college student, she loved being so near to amazing Italian restaurants, shops, and markets, often cooking for friends, roommates, and even a few Jesuit priests. I love that. That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
After college, Dena taught third grade until she had children of her own. When they were young, instead of going back to teaching, she began doing cooking classes, catering, and working in restaurants to make an extra income. Life was crazy, but she always managed to cook for her children. She learned that if she stayed organized, she could actually manage. So after being in a restaurant business for a long time, Dena opened a place of her own. It was open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Dena,
that
I cannot imagine
is a lot.
It was crazy.
Absolutely.
That's actually insanity.
Where's the break, right?
And I was going through a divorce at the same time. So,
oh my goodness, you and Kristin have stuff in common to talk about. So unfortunately, it was becoming overwhelming. She wasn't seeing her family at all, so she decided to close the restaurant. Dena married her now husband, Peter, in 2014 in Monticello, Italy. Quite fabulous, if I do say so myself. And made the decision. She started writing down a lot of her family recipes. In 2020, right after the lockdown got going, she began sharing them on social media as, now is this right? Micia Mammas?
Micia Mammas.
Micia Mammas.
I can't wait to hear about that story.
I know, that's
crazy, silly, but it's funny.
Way too fun.
So fun. For Dena, this was an outlet during a really tough time. She set out to show people that they could cook amazing meals for their family. And in 2023, Dena released her first cookbook entitled My Italian American Table and began to sell the olive oil that she produced in her home in Tuscany. Wow. In addition, she now offers exclusive tours for all to share in her love of Italy. Dena shared the whole crazy process on her social media. She now lives in the home part-time and produces and imports her own extra virgin olive oil from her property. She also imports her own pasta and runs tours based on the olive harvest experience.
That is so cool.
Wow. You have really accomplished a lot.
You have.
Yes, it's been a little bit of a crazy couple of years, but yes, it's
well,
good.
Welcome. It's so nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it is absolutely our pleasure. So the way this sort of all came about is that my husband is writing a book about the history of Italian-American immigration and assimilation. And so my son plays lacrosse at Georgetown. We have a lot of long drives. And we heard you on the podcast, the Italian-American podcast. And I have to be honest, you were so peppy and fun to listen to. And you have such an amazing story.
Thank you.
We are really excited.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So, okay, let's get started. My first question is, tell us a little bit about your journey. I know that you opened a restaurant, you built this amazing brand sharing recipes on Instagram, and now you have your own cookbook, My Italian American Table, which is so, so good. But take us back. Where did it all begin and how did you get here?
I guess I had kids, little kids, three of them running around, and I had to go back to work. Financially, we needed the two incomes. And at that point, between childcare and everything, I was a teacher before. So I started like doing cooking classes and catering in people's homes. And then that wasn't enough. So I had a friend who had a restaurant, and he's like, well, why don't you come waitress on the weekends? You'll make some good cash. So it was very hard to have to tell you to go back in my town and waitress. But desperate times need desperate measures, and we needed the cash.
I'm sorry, where were you at this point?
I was on Long Island still. And I still am on Long Island. I'm in Long Island now. But so I went back to work, and then it evolved into then that owner was opening up a restaurant somewhere else on Long Island. And he's like, come on over with me. I want your menu. You'll be my general manager. And I said, okay, great, because I don't have to waitress anymore. And
How long did
then
you waitress for?
about a year and a half.
Okay.
More power
But
to
I
you.
mean, yeah. And it wasn't easy. Waitresses are great, and you make good money. But when you had like your parents of the kids coming in, and it's like there's Dena waitress, it was a weird, it was a little bit difficult.
Yeah, a little tricky for you, I can only imagine, for sure.
Yes. And so then I went to run his restaurant, and we opened up, and it was successful. And then I had this like kind of urge to open up my own place. And at that point, I had been going through a divorce, and I found a little spot in Huntington, Long Island, and I wanted to open up a little like bistro. Like originally, I was going to start off with breakfast and lunch, which I did. And then my partner had pushed me to do the dinner. And it was like, oh, we'll get more money in if you do the liquor, and we open up for dinner. So now we're open up 7 days a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wait, Dena, what
And
did hours look like? When did you start and when did you wrap?
oh, it was insane because you're opening for breakfast at 8 a.m. So you got to be there at least an hour and a half before. And then there were nights when like some people don't show up for their shift. And I'm there as a dishwasher, then I'm trying to work the front. And then I don't leave until 12 o'clock at night. So on your feet. And it was very hard. And especially going with the divorce, my kids didn't see me. I mean, talk about your son playing sports. My kids played all sorts of sports too. And I couldn't be on the field. Like people didn't know I existed.
Well, yeah, and the fact that you kept the breakfast when you were adding the dinner is
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was.
amazing, because you would have thought you would drop maybe the breakfast so that you could come in a
Yeah,
little later, but that's just, those hours are insane. I mean, they're
it was crazy.
unsustainable with
Right.
small
And
children.
you rely on other people, and they're not always reliable. And always the things that go wrong happen when you're not there. And it just got to a point when then I met my husband now, and he said, you know what? I think that you
Wait, how
really
did you
need.
guys meet? We need a little bit of the scoop.
Yes.
Oh, we met at the restaurant that I was running at the time. And he would come in, and he was newly divorced, and he would come in with his kids, and I connected with his daughter, and she would follow me around the restaurant.
Oh,
And yeah, and we just met, and it turned out I was building the restaurant, and I needed a ceiling for the restaurant, and he manufactured fence, and I needed somebody to paint it. And he came in and one day, and he was like, oh, well, we do that. We could do that for you. So I went to go to get the paint samples and figure out the color for this gold kind of ceiling that I was trying to do a DIY, cheaper copper ceiling look.
right.
And then he asked me out, and the rest is kind of history.
Oh, I love
It's a
that.
great story. And I
That's a
like that
good
you were
story.
daughter approved first.
Yes, yeah, definitely was.
That
Definitely
always
was.
helps the cause, for sure.
That's
That's
really
for sure.
So what happened? Yeah. How long did, so you said about a year, right?
Yeah, so I had the restaurant for like 2 years, and then we closed. And then I stayed home with the kids. It was in the beginning, it was a little tough for me because I had never really stayed home. I always made money.
Right.
And even though he was like, oh, everything is going to be joint. And I was like, everything was like very like new to me. And I was upset about the restaurant. I mean, when I closed, we weren't making money, I have to tell you. And my landlord was going to raise my rent. And the parking in my area was already bad. And they were about to rip out a whole parking lot right in front of the restaurant for the winter. And I had to really think about things financially. So I decided to stay home with the kids, which turned out to be the best thing that I ever did for them at that point. I mean, they needed me, and especially going through a divorce, and I wasn't around at all. now mom was around. So now I embraced this kind of new thing for me. And it was great.
Looking at the positive.
Yeah. In retrospect, it was the best thing I could have done for myself, for the kids. They needed mom. And I was there for them. I got to go to their games now. People were like, oh, you're the mom? Like, yeah, that's me. I just been slaving for the past 3 years to make ends meet. But yeah, I'm the mom. And, in 2020, then the world shut down. And we started off this page was as 4 women. And then it dwindled down as people were like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, hey, you know what? This is fun for me. I'm going to keep doing it.
Right.
So that's how it all pans out.
That's how it all evolved.
Micia Mammas, what does that mean? Where'd the name come from?
So we have 4 friends. And right before shutdown, we went away on a girls' trip, which is something that I really never even did because I never had the means, but it was a friend's 50th birthday. So we went to St. Martin and we go and we have this woman that's driving us around every night. And her name was Josie. So one night after having a couple of glasses of wine, we would always, this Josie was this big woman and she was tough. Like you felt always safe with Josie and her big Escalade picking you up. And one night I was joking with her and I'm like, I don't know if you remember this cartoon. It was called Josie and the Pussycats.
And the Pussycats. I was just going to say Josie and the Pussycats.
So I'm like, Josie, because we would sing in the car. And I'm like, Josie, you'd like Josie and we're the Pussycats. So we would laughing and we kept in touch with Josie after. And then we decided to start this page, intern Micia in Italian as Pussy Cat. And we were like, where the mom is, where the Micia Mammas, like the Josie and the Pussycats. And it was so stupid. What a stupid name.
Great story. That is
But I'm dating myself with Josie and the Pussycats. But yeah, that's where it came from.
We all remember
it's our
it.
era.
That is
fantastic.
so good. I love
Yeah, so that's how it evolved. And then over time, everyone was like going back to work, who was a teacher, who was everyone's like, you know what? I don't want to do it. It's too much work. And so I just was like, okay, well, I'll keep doing it. And at that point, I think we didn't have a lot of followers. But what happened was at that point, we were deciding to buy a home in Italy.
Okay.
And it was then I started doing it myself. It all fell into place, like the whole plan. Like it was my recipes. Now I bought a home in Italy with olive trees and I shared the whole process of renovating my old farm. It literally was an old little farmhouse. I shared that in San Giovanni d'Asso in Montalcino. And I shared that whole process. And then I started producing the olive oil and then I started doing tours. So and now I do the pasta, which is doing really well. So it's just, food has always been a passion to me and quality, good ingredients always have been. And it's just now I've reinvented myself at 51 years old. And now I'm doing this with all the kids are out of the house now. So this is a great little way for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing what you've built.
It just shows you like it's never too late to start over. Like my restaurant closed. I had a failed marriage. I was so upset about the restaurant and it was all new to me, like being home now. And it was like, I need to do something for myself. And at that point, 2020.
But what was that moment? Do you remember the moment that you were, okay, I've been home with the kids?
Well, it was during lockdown, and it was just like you're all on top of each other during lockdown, right?
Yes.
And it was like, all right, I need something to do for myself. I'm going to lose my mind with these kids all day. Who's here? Who's running around? Who's eating meals at different times of the day? So I just started sharing the recipes. And for a long time, it was just me and my really good friend Lisa doing it together. But again, she worked full time. It was really a lot for her. I was still home for the kids. And she's like, you just do it. And that was fine for me. Whatever she wanted was still good friends to this day. We talk every single day. Wow. And she's come over for the olive harvest when I first started doing it. And it just evolved into something and my business. And it's been a lot of hard work. Like people's like, oh, like everything is, you have a house in Tuscany and it's everything's, I bust my butt every single day.
But do you feel that because you were so passionate about your heritage and the cooking and the feelings surrounding it and just memories of your grandpa, like did that make it just so much more palatable?
Yes.
Or not to use fun, but did that, even though it was such hard work, is that part of what just kept you going and fueling you forward?
Yes. And it was a part of it too, was in the beginning, it was all like my family recipes. Now it's like my own kind of recipes. And in the beginning, it was getting those recipes down on paper for like my grandchildren to see or my great grandchildren to have. And now they have this book, regardless of whether the book is a bestseller or not, whatever, is they have this book that they could look back on our old family pictures. They could read the story. They could read the story about every single recipe and what it was in our family.
Like an act of love, or it's
Yes.
a gift of love
Really
and
is
memories.
a tribute and a family.
Yeah,
Yes.
it gives me goosebumps because that is
Wonderful.
something that will live on, right? Long after you're gone.
Yes.
Your grandkids and
Yeah.
your grandkids. And that's something super special.
Was it hard to actually put pen to paper when it came to the recipes? Like, did you have to go back in time and think about how the proportions worked out or what the ingredients were? Or was it just so
Yes.
natural?
No one ever measured.
You and your grandparents just did it by
We
memory.
cooked in the kitchen all the time. No one ever measured. A lot of times, my aunt and my mom, before my one grandpa, who was an excellent cook, passed, he had ALS, they wrote a lot of just ingredients down. But I had tasted the food. I had cooked the food with a lot of the dishes with both sets of grandparents. So I just started measuring things and writing down the recipes. And it takes a lot of work to publish a recipe. Like, I don't just write a recipe, I test them out like many, many times. I rewrite them with measurements. And every recipe that I ever share, whether it's in the cookbook or whether it's in on my social, any of my social medias, always has exact measurements. Everything. So you'll always get the video tutorial. Yes, I always measured everything. Every recipe that I ever publish now, I mean, I go over a million times before I publish it. And everything always has the video tutorial with it, all the ingredients with the measurements and the method. So everything is pretty, and I'm a simple cook. I'm not anything fancy. So
Thank you for that. Trust me.
We love the simplicity.
We love it. What are some of your favorites or anything you can talk to as far as a fave?
I mean, there are so many. One recipe that I made yesterday was pizza rustica for Easter. And this time of the year, that's my favorite. It's the Italian meat pie. And that's in the cookbook. And it's funny because there was also a big portion of my childhood that I didn't eat any meat. As a 5-year-old kid, I said I was eating a meatball sandwich with my grandmother. And they were talking about her and my aunt about delicacy meat and that they would some sort of meat from a lion or some kind of crazy thing they were talking about. And I was like, oh, but I'm eating a meatball right now. I'm like, does this come from an animal? And they're like, yes, a pork. They told me a pig and a cow. And I was like, oh, and I put it down. And at 1979, who was not eating meat? They thought I was going to die. Okay.
Right. Oh,
They were
definitely.
like, I'm not eating this. And they're like, what do you mean you're not going to eat it? You're going to die. And I'm like, you're not eating meat. Like, you need the nutrients. You need this. And I refused to eat it. They tried to shove it down my throat like old school people, like, you're not. But my grandfather embraced it because he loved to cook. So he would make me all these like special like
Oh,
things, eggplant, this and this. Everything was, I would still eat cheese and everything like that.
okay, with
So
mozzarella
he
and
worked with
basil.
it and he probably liked
Yes.
like your conviction to how you were feeling. I mean,
Well,
listening
also too, he didn't want me to, he'd be like, you need the nutrients. So he would cook for me all the time. And I spent a lot of time with him. So it was really nice.
Oh, that's so
That's
special.
amazing.
Do you find too that a lot of people with an American Italian heritage have really resonated with your page and with your food? Because I do find that, like, me personally, my husband, my last name is Caponiti, and his grandparents came from Italy. And I do think that he definitely associates with Italy and Italian food. And whenever we go visit Italy, I feel as though it's just such a special, magical place that food is the best and the people. And there's a million wonderful countries out there, but there's just something about Italy that seems to have it all. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it totally does. I mean, let's just put it this way. When I'm not there, like, because now I live part-time there, part-time here. And my husband and I both work from both places. So that's great. And the kids are all in college or graduated.
Right.
So at this point, I feel like my body, when I'm not there, craves Italy. Like,
Oh,
The food, the way my body feels, especially as a woman going like full blown menopause. Like I am so sensitive to everything I eat. And when I'm there, like I eat differently. Like I would never have pizza for lunch in America. It's never happening. Like I have my little salad with my sweet potatoes that I roasted and all these like things that I'm doing crazy because I have this menopause symptom and that menopause symptom.
I need to lower the carbs. I need healthy
Yes,
everything. Yeah.
there, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a pizza for lunch. And I don't get bloated. I don't feel sick. I eat pasta every single day. We drink wine every night. We, in general,
We were in Italy last summer and I was saying the same thing. I'm like, you just feel better. Is it because it's just all organic and fresh? Like, what is the differential?
I mean, I have a lot of theories about it. And for example, I can't eat ice cream here. If I eat ice cream here, I'll be like hunched over in pain, all the usual bloating or whatever. But when I'm in Italy, I could eat the gelato.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And or any milk product, even the ricotta, like anything like that, I could eat there, but I can't eat here. And to me, it's there's so many hormones and so many unnecessary ingredients in the food here in this country that we don't need. Like, for example, I brought home a Fanta soda, and I'm not a soda drinker, but every once in a while with my pizza for lunch, I'll have a Fanta in Italy. I would never in a million years drink a Fanta in America. Because if you look at the color is bright orange, the one in Italy actually looks like orange juice is added to it. Now, why is the same product, Fanta, orange Fanta, why is it different?
Very fair
Like,
question.
and a lot of these companies, and I know at this point there are things being done about removing dyes and doing this, but to me, it's not fast enough. Okay. So I just feel it's progress and at least things are being addressed now. But we're so knee deep in horrible ingredients in this country that it's going to take a lot longer than like immediate. It's not going to happen immediately. Like this is stuff that's so, you know, they want to just give you a medication at a doctor's office or they put her on the medication. I had higher cholesterol over the last few months, which I was a little concerned about because there's heart disease in my family. And my cholesterol during menopause was going up. So I went to my heart doctor because my regular doctor said, just get your heart checked out, being that there's family. And I said to him, I'm not going on statins. I said, I know that they want to put you on all these medications. I'm like, I don't want to be on any medications. Check my heart out, make sure I'm okay, all my valves, and then we'll go from there. Because a lot of times doctors will just be like, okay, your cholesterol is this, here's the medication. And I just feel like we're so medicated and there's so many unnecessary hormones and chemicals in our food and it's all inflammatory and it all makes us sick. So that's my theory.
No, I think that is, well, it's a very interesting take on it, but I think that I would agree 100%. I think that that is one of the biggest problems in this country in general. And the fact that you can just go to Europe, and we're specifically talking about Italy, and feel completely different within a week is very indicative that there's something very processed
Needing
about our
correcting
food.
here. And,
Yeah.
and education, awareness, advocacy, all of it. It's a process. Like you said, it's not happening fast enough. But at least younger kids seem to be aware.
Yes, I feel like the younger kids are very,
I
I'll
think
speak
of my
for
daughter.
the kids, and
Yeah,
our two
taking
daughters
care.
are very, they're very into clean.
Yes, mine too.
Not worried about the calories, really worried about the nutrition, the healthy food that's going into your body, and exercise for all the right reasons as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Mine too.
Dena, specifically the way to your point about inflammation, not just the obvious reasons to eat healthy and to feel good in the moment, but what it does to your health and your inflammation.
Yeah,
What it
it's
does
so
to your
true.
system, right?
Because
And
inflammation is the worst.
and your neurology too, your nervous system, the whole thing,
Totally.
all related.
The whole thing, which is why we are going to start cooking from your fabulous Italian cookbook.
There you go. Well, it's beyond the recipe. It's reading your ingredients.
Yes, no,
It's
exactly.
reading the ingredients. Like, for example, a heavy cream. I bought heavy cream for a recipe that I made. And you look at one, and one is pure heavy cream. Well, actually, the first one that I bought, organic, you pay more money for it, has extra gums in it. All
Oh,
right.
really?
And you look it up and you're like, all right, it's organic. It's the cream plus the gum. And I'm like, all right, well, the gum they say is healthy. But then if you look it up, it can cause inflammation. And I'm like, why am I eating this? And every time I use this ingredient, even if it's little, it's making me have a reaction. So then I looked into this other brand at Whole Foods that goes bad instantly. Okay. It's like it weak and it's done. It's not like a longer shelf life, and it doesn't have any of the other ingredients in it. But when I use that in my cooking, I don't have a reaction to that heavy cream. So here you are thinking, oh, I'm buying organic and I'm spending all this money too on organic, but there's hidden ingredients. So you have to really know what you're putting in your body.
And what's the brand of this cream?
It's the Shady something, Shady Inn, Shady Brook. I forget the name of it.
Well, because my daughter says to me too, if we go to a coffee shop, I was always more of a milk in my coffee. And then everyone gets on the almond milk train. And so then I'm like thinking I'm being healthy. And I'm like, I'll have almond milk in my latte. But then she said, you're really better off just going with whole milk, because a lot of
Right.
milks, to your point, or oat milks or whatever, have a ton of sugar. So if you're looking at the ingredients in a grocery store and you want to purchase it, fair. But if you're just walking into a coffee shop, she always says to me, just get whole milk, because that is just going to be what it is.
Right. For the most part, unless your cows have a warm, but it's lesser of the two evils kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Very fair point.
Which is crazy that we're talking about the lesser of two evils when it comes to milk. That should be pretty basic.
I know. Or heavy cream for that matter.
Exactly.
I mean,
So all this talk about ingredients and even how yummy cooking lends itself to healthy eating as well. I mean, obviously you have been involved with food and the love of food your whole life. Do you feel like the confidence came before you started putting yourself out there? Did it build as you go? Did you learn so much more about ingredients as you were actually putting together the cookbook?
absolutely. And I think I learned more about the ingredients when I started living in Italy for a more of extended period of time.
Oh,
It's
fair.
very interesting. Like when I go there, about a week and a half into like my visit, my body starts to like purge in ways like detox itself. It's very strange. Okay.
Like what in what way? What are your responses?
Do we want all the details?
Oh, fair enough. Okay. I wasn't really thinking what
Use
to
your
do.
imagination, Megan. So
Scientific.
I kept noticing this trend. I'm like, this is very strange. And I started to like be like, well, what? So I started to be like, well, what the heck? Like, why is this happening to me? And now I started looking into things more. And then I'm in that period of my life where everything starts to bother me. And I gained 15 pounds all of a sudden when I, like, right before, like, the whole house journey. I gained like 15 pounds eating the same way that I always ate. I'm like, what the heck is going on? My clothes weren't fitting. I was freaking out. Then I started going to Italy more, paying attention to how differently my body felt. And then I started to educate myself. And I always used good ingredients, so to speak. But even the things that you think are the good ingredients are not necessarily always the case, because there's hidden things in there.
Right.
And I started to really listen to my body and really educate myself. And like you said, like my kids now, thankfully, all eat really healthy. Like my one daughter just bought a house. She's a Marine down in Camp Lejeune. And she just bought herself a house. She's getting married. And I was down visiting her. And I was so proud because I'm there on a Sunday and she's meal prepping for herself. And if you look at her pantry, it's all clean ingredients and the exercise. And I think it's just so important to all of us to educate each other. A lot of people, like, sometimes you feel like hopeless because you're like, what could I eat? Like, what out there is actually good for me because of all the things that you see out there. But I think, like, little by little, if you start to educate yourself and remove certain things like a cleaner or some sort of toxic detergent, you have to do things in moderation and educate yourself.
Right. No, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about how you really did reinvent yourself in midlife. So I guess my question to you is, many women in midlife feel like they've missed their window. But since you did really reinvent yourself later in life, what would you say to someone who's sitting on something but just hasn't started and can't do it? Because so much of trying something or getting out there is that first step. And I think for a lot of people, and I'll speak for us as well, it can be very daunting. But once you do it, so many amazing, wonderful things come, whether there's failure or success. I
Right.
think there's a lot that's tied into
Big
that.
steps or little steps, high
Yeah.
risk or not. I mean,
Yes,
there's
you're right. And I believe that it should be baby steps, and you don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I mean, I came from a situation where like we were broke and I had to go back to work like two jobs to maintain three children and living in New York. And you know what? I have to do things for myself, and I have to make some decisions that were hard, like my divorce, and not be afraid. I mean, I was terrified, but try not to be afraid,
a lot of people can relate to you on that.
right? I mean, it's terrifying in so many levels. It's terrifying. And you know what? Trust the process. Trust that God has a plan, that you can do things, even if it's little things to start to make your life better. And you can sit there and be like, woe is me. Oh my God, my life is so terrible. But thank God I didn't. Thank God I got and put my feet on the ground every single day. And I figured out, you know what? How am I going to navigate today? How am I going to figure it out? And I never thought that at that point after the restaurant closure, that I would be able to get to this point where I was doing really something that I love, and it being my own business now and importing the pasta. And there's so many more ideas that I have in my head, and sharing tours with people and bringing people to Italy. You just can't give up on yourself. Like it's never too late. Never too late.
Oh, I love
That
that
is
though. You can't
beautiful.
give up on yourself. That
Can't
is
give
such
up on yourself.
a beautiful message,
It's
right?
very easy to, but you have to always think, you know what, I could do this.
Right. Well, that's like you, Kristen. I
Yep,
mean,
exactly. And not to say that every day is perfect, every moment is the gun ho moment or the aha moment, right? There are times when you have to sit in it and just take a break, or make sure you don't want to pivot for like a little bit over here or whatever.
Right.
Be open to another door opening.
yeah, no, that was absolutely beautiful. And I think some of it is similar to what you've talked to me about, Kristen, right? The
Yeah,
divorce and
it
then,
sure is. And just sometimes it seems like everything happens at once. But then when you're going through those struggles and you just can't imagine what the next day looks like, how are you going to get out of whatever that is that's the challenge or the challenges? All of a sudden, something just changes a little bit. And then you take that step forward and then it affects something else. And my divorce happened at the same time as a medical trauma for me, Dina. And so I can
So
just relate
sorry.
you being clobbered. Thank you. But just like feeling like a little clobbered by a couple things at once. And
Oh,
then, of
yeah.
course, the young kids just magnify anything you're experiencing when it comes to trying to make it through some challenge or struggle, right? But somehow, if you just take a couple deep breaths, I agree. And just baby steps, have
Baby
grace.
steps.
Don't expect too much for yourself right
right,
away.
have grace and believe in yourself, I think are the two
Yes.
messages that come from that, right?
And give yourself grace.
Give yourself grace.
Give
And
yourself grace.
it's okay to lean on people, right? Because as moms,
Totally.
we get
Yep.
used, especially you, Dina, you were like a working mom. I mean, you were making it happen. You were rocking and a rolling. And then it's okay to say, I could use a little help here. Yeah, I
Right.
will take a break, actually. Thank
Not
you.
always easy, but you
No,
know what? You need to.
that's right.
Yeah, and it's
That's right.
it's a good lesson for your kids too, right? To show your kids it's okay sometimes. It's all a little bit too much because listening to your stories, I feel like it was the perfect storm in that moment and it was a lot to manage. And sometimes you just need to step back and take a little help. And then there's another time when you can give help to somebody else, right?
Right.
Depending on where your situation is.
Totally.
Okay. So you spoke about this a little bit, but when you look at your life now, New York, Tuscany, your brand, I guess my question to you would be, what does finding your fabulous actually mean to you? Like in a nutshell, if you could just give a sentence or two or more and just explain what that feeling of finding your fabulous at this stage of the game looks like to you.
Finding my fabulous. Okay, so let me think about this. I think finding my fabulous has a lot of facets, right? It's not just, I would say, one thing for me. Like, it's my family life, meaning like my kids, my stepkids, my husband, and making sure that they have what they need and giving them their very best life and love that they all need, right? And then you have like your extended family, like my parents who are getting older now, and spending the time with them. And then you have like the work part of me and loving what you do and working hard. And I feel like it's that well-rounded part of you, like the many different facets of all who we are as people, that is finding the fabulous that we are at this age to live the very best life. Because I just feel like, you think about it, 51 years old, I've lived more than half my life probably. And I don't want to stop living. Like, I want to keep experiencing things, and I want my family to be there, and I want to give them the very best life. And at the same time, you got to take care of yourself, right? And look out for your own health. And I just feel like finding fabulous for me has, I think, many different facets that all go into the person I think I am now.
I feel like you just painted such a beautiful picture of the balance of midlife. Like that's
Yeah, it's
all.
not easy, but
And
I think
Sound
yeah,
easy
you made it
though.
sound easy.
You made it sound easy and enjoyable.
That's right. And I think the word balance is always an interesting word because it makes it sound so like everything's right at the right time, right place, and the right amount. And it's just,
And it's a shit
never
show.
like that.
It's a shit
it
show
is.
all the time.
It
But if
is.
you can show some grace and have perspective, then I think you hit the nail on the head.
And I think you already answered really our final question, but we do ask every guest and ourselves often this question. So we're going to ask it to you. And I'm sure you'll be able to share a couple more little nuggets of wisdom here. But for the woman who hasn't started finding her fabulous yet, what would you tell her?
Don't give up.
That's the title of the episode.
You can't give up. Life is going to throw you. I mean, I could tell you about, on for hours about how many curveballs my life since I was a little girl has thrown me. And people only see the picture of like, oh, Instagram. And here she has her cookbook and her thing and her house in Italy and her husband and all these kids. No one knows the hardships that you've been through except yourself, right? And your family. And life is going to throw all of us issues. And you just have to pick yourself up every single time, not feel sorry for yourself. There's no time for that. You got to keep moving on because you're never going to know. I'm always the shoe. What's that saying? The other shoe's going to drop type of person. I'm like, okay, everything's going really good right now. When's the other thing? When's something bad's going to happen? Because that's always the way I live my life, always worried. But I just feel like you can never give up on yourself. You got to invest in yourself, invest the time in yourself because you're worth it. And in the grand scheme of things, who else, when we grow old, all right, I didn't take that trip or I didn't do this experience or I didn't do this with my family. Like, you're going to look back and have regrets. And if you just believe in yourself and if you're looking to reinvent yourself, take those baby steps, give yourself grace, stay organized along the way, which is another key thing I think is thing for people. Like, I have lists beyond lists of things, all lists of stuff every single day. And stay organized beyond task, have goals, long term, short term, and just put the time into yourself. Because if you put the time into yourself, everyone around you is going to do better. I don't know. That's my philosophy.
You're super cool and your perspective is pretty amazing, as is your cooking. So my last question to you is, when are we invited for dinner?
I would love to have you guys anyway.
We know that there are literally a million podcasts out there, and so many of them are so, so good. We'd love for you to tell your friends, family, and all the women in your life to join us in finding fabulous and lighting it up.
Yes, share your stories with us by DMing and following us on Instagram, TikTok, and all your social media at Finding Fabulous Pod. And please subscribe, like, and share wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.